A few months ago, I made a video talking about my Evolve 50s, and I said that I loved those speakers, and I still do. The Evolve 50 is the perfect speaker for portability, volume, and value. But it reminds me of my car I had in high school, and I'm super grateful that I had a car in high school. It was a two-door Hyundai that was perfect for driving to and from school and doing small errands around town. And it was very gutless. It took about 25 to 30 seconds to get to 60 miles per hour. And it was really quirky. It had something in the manual saying do not exceed 65 miles an hour, which, as a commuter car to get around town, to get to my local high school down the road, that wasn't a huge deal. It was able to handle those trips just fine. But then the time came to go to college, and the college was pretty far, and I had to go on the freeway a pretty long distance every day. And that's when the car was approaching its limits of capabilities. It could technically go to 65 miles per hour, but it would start to wobble, and it really struggled. And there was no headroom. I could not go any faster. If I needed to go from one lane all the way across the freeway, I had to do it very carefully. I couldn't speed up to easily navigate around other cars. Every time it was on the freeway, it was giving all of its effort. That's kind of how I feel about the Evolve 50s too, because they sound amazing for a lot of situations, but when it's dance party time, even for a smaller gathering, I'm pushing them as loud as they can go without much headroom. And I think that it sounds pretty good, but there's lots of situations where the room is too big or there's too many people and you need more volume. So I always try to plan it so that I only bring the Evolve 50s for situations where it makes sense. But there's been times where I miscalculated, or the layout changes, or it rains and we have to go to a different type of venue, and I find myself not having any headroom to go any louder. My speakers were pushing as far as they could go, delivering all the volume that they could, and somebody comes to me and puts daggers in my heart and asks for me to turn it up. So I figured for this new year, I might as well try a new column array system. And the two systems I thought about are the RCF EVOX 12 and the Maui 44 G2. And I was fortunate to see both of these speakers in person at MEX. And let's make one thing crystal clear. A column array system is not a requirement to be a wedding DJ. There's no unwritten rule saying that you need a column array to be a good wedding DJ. In fact, a traditional point source speaker over a sub is going to deliver more volume for a lower cost, more boom for your buck. And you might be thinking, well, why even do a column array then? If column arrays cost more and they deliver less, why in the world would you want them? And that is a fair question. I've been starting to see a lot of DJs kind of abandon column arrays and go back to more traditional systems. And there's really two things, convenience and aesthetics. As mobile wedding DJs, we're having to set up and strike quickly, and areas where we can streamline our setup benefits us greatly. Column arrays offer a more compact form factor, so they're quicker to set up, easier to transport, and they have fewer cables to plug in. And then secondly is the aesthetics. Aesthetics are super subjective, so we can't always determine what our customers will or will not like. Column arrays are more minimalist, less imposing, and they have a smaller footprint, and there's more options for column array systems in white. And you're the DJ that has to look at it at every event, so choose something that you like. So I was considering the RCF EVOX 12 and the LD Systems Maui 44 G2 because they're kind of a step up from the Evolve 50. They deliver more volume, they're louder, they're bigger systems, and you do sacrifice some of the portability and convenience and compactness when you're getting a bigger system. So that's kind of why I stayed away from those systems for so long, but I figured why not? Let's try a new system this season. And so both of them feature a 15-inch sub opposed to the Evolve 50's 12-inch sub. The setup of the Maui speaker is a cableless experience. It has this quick lock system so that it's really simple to assemble it. The RCF requires and provides a pull-in cable to connect the speaker to the sub, which isn't as convenient, but unlike the Maui, it's not a fixed direction. You can adjust the height and you can also spin the speaker, which is huge. That's something I didn't have on the Evolve 50. And I've heard that is a really huge feature people like. The Evolve 50, I was picking it up by its two handles on the sub and rotating it when I needed to. So just being able to rotate the top speaker more easily will be a lot better, I think, of a workflow. They're roughly the same price. The RCF has a max SPL of 130, while the Maui has a 132. And I wanted to do a size comparison, and I'll just say that the Maui is a little bit bigger. RCF doesn't have any data on their subwoofer alone, and I haven't measured it, so that comparison will just have to wait for another time. But I can tell you that the Maui 44G2 is 100 pounds sub and top, with the sub being 80 pounds, while the EVOX 12 is 80 pounds for the whole system and approximately 60 pounds for the sub. And the EVOX 12 has like a convenient transport system where it has like wheels built in as well as like a telescoping luggage handle. And both of these systems come in black and white, which I think are so popular with wedding DJs wanting to have like a white setup and a black setup. And ultimately, I think both of these systems sound good. So the Maui is a little bit bulkier and heavier, but delivers a little bit more sound. And the EVOX 12, well, it has more flexibility. Like you can adjust the height of the top speaker pole and you can adjust its direction. The EVOX top contains 8 speakers which can be raised over people's heads, which is optimal for when the dance floor is packed, opposed to the Maui, which has a bunch of mid-range speakers at chest and waist level, which won't be as useful during a packed dance floor. And so it's a close call. Both speakers are really good. Both speakers look really nice and perform really well. After looking at tons of reviews, so many people like either speaker, so I don't think you can go wrong with either choice. But ultimately, the guys at the RCF booth were really nice. It's only fair, right? They gave me this nice hat, so I have to buy their speaker. And ultimately, I like the EVOX 12 because it has a similar aesthetic to the Evol 50, like sub, skinny pole, top speaker. And like I said, aesthetics are super subjective. Some people hate that look. But I remember when I was looking at the Turbo Sound 2000 versus the Evol 50 like several years ago. The Turbo Sound, somebody said that it looked like a marshmallow with a toothpick sticking out of it, and I can't get that image out of my mind. The Maui 44G2 embodies that same aesthetic. And ultimately, I'm looking for something a little bit more compact, and I'm wanting to rely more on that convenience. Like I said, I could just do my point source over my sub, and that would eat either system for breakfast. So ultimately, yeah, I am excited to use the speaker at gigs, and it's going to be a great time. I'll probably give you guys an update and do an unboxing in a different video. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. Which column array speaker do you like? Let me know down in the comments below, or if you think column array speakers are no good, also let me know down in the comments below. Please smash like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.